district, and we have a wonderful presentation lined up for you. So if you can go ahead and grab something to eat, take your seats, we'll get started momentarily. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Is everybody warm enough?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
I used to work for a federal judge, and he kept his courtroom at 60 degrees because it is impossible for a jury to fall asleep when their teeth are chattering. So, just saying. Anyway, my name is Mike Barry, and I am on the board of directors here at the Museum, and we are thrilled to have you here this morning for this State of the District event. We are the Children's Museum for South Texas. We're the Children's Museum for Bexar County. We're the Children's Museum for San Antonio. Don't tell any of the other districts. We're really the Children's Museum for District 2. Because we're part of District 2, and we are very, very proud of that. We're going to start with an invocation, and I'd like to bring up Bishop Rosa Wilson.
All right.
Amen. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is truly an honor and privilege to stand before you this morning. Me being on the agenda was not on the agenda, but God had an agenda. So I'd like to give honor to God, first of all, who is the head of my life. I want to give honor to our Senator Jose Menendez and our Councilman Allen Ward, District 2, and any other officials and clergy that's in the House, all the neighborhood presidents, and I am the president of Wheatley Heights Association. So I'm going to ask that you bow your head because we're sitting in great seats and a great time and a great season. Father, we just praise you and we bless your holy name for who you are. We thank you for the many, many blessings that you have already bestowed upon each and every one of us. God, we thank you for last night lying down and early this morning rising up. Father, we thank you now that you have brought us to a place, the state of the district, God. We thank you for this due museum, a museum that does things, that make things happen, change. We're the greatest city in the world, God, for those things and many, many blessings. We ask that you continue to keep us and protect us is our prayer. Amen and amen. Give God a praise in the house. Hallelujah.
Thank you so much. As I said, my name is Mike Barry, and we are thrilled to have you here. As we are in this event where you may have heard there's this election going on, and all of the back and forth. This is what democracy looks like.
Exactly.
People who care about their community and come out on a beautiful Saturday morning to talk about what's going on in their district, what's going on in their community. This is what makes America great, and I'm just thrilled that you are here and proud to be part of it. Here at the museum, we focus on education because we recognize that education makes a difference. Education can bring people out of poverty. Education can reduce teen pregnancy, it can reduce drug use, it can reduce all of those ills that beset our society. But education has to be accessible to students as well. And that's why we focus so much here at the museum on making sure that all residents of San Antonio regardless of their income, regardless of their ethnicity, regardless of their race, their backgrounds, all students can have access to the resources that we have here. We have a couple of programs. One of them specifically here in District 2, for example. We have a Strengthening Our Schools and Strengthening Our Families programs, where we partner with schools like Douglas Elementary and Pershing Elementary to provide valuable learning resources to the schools and to the teachers. We also have a program called Museum for All, which offers scholarships to Title I schools so that they can come for what we call field experiences. When I grew up, they were called field trips. Now they're called field experiences because we don't want the students just coming and looking at something. We want them coming and doing something because they learn by doing. And we also have, on the first and third Tuesday of every month, HEB free admission days so that anybody can come and experience the great opportunities that exist here at the museum. We've been open now for about 16 months, and we are nearing 700,000 folks who have come and visited us. We are thrilled with that, but we recognize that our partnership with this community is only growing and becoming more strong. And we have the opportunity today also specifically to thank our Senator Menendez, and our Councilman Warrick for their efforts and their support. And specifically Councilman Warrick, right across the street over here on Broadway, you've seen the new walk sign to help make sure that students and families can walk safely across Broadway. That's because of the partnership with Councilman Warrick. The reduced speed limit is because of the partnership with Councilman Warrick. And that nice canopy over on the playground that we have over on Lions Field is also through the partnership with Councilman Warrick. So we are very honored to be in this district and to be part of this event today. But I have the honor first of introducing Senator Menendez. Senator Menendez has been in public service since he's 24 years old when he joined the Zoning Commission. 17 years in the legislature. A man who is committed to his community, committed to the public service, to the public interest. I'd like to welcome him up right now, Senator Menendez.
Thank you, Dean. Folks, let's give Dean Michael Berry a big round of applause. And let's see if this one works, because that would be easier for me, I think. All right. So let's try to save this one for
The rainy day.
that and the councilman. He probably has one of those mics that he puts underneath his bow tie, so he's looking professional. I bet you they got him back in the green room, put some makeup on, make him look good. But I just want to say thank you to the councilman and his staff and his office for the hard work that they do, but primarily to you for being out here caring enough about your community. You know, in San Antonio, the smart leaders, and I say some of them, will actually take cues from the San Antonio Spurs. And I'm saying this because the Spurs have shown us that it's not always having, quote, the most talented individuals on the court. It's knowing that you have to have a group of people that are willing to work together as a team to solve our toughest challenges. And when you don't care who gets the credit, and those of us who lived in San Antonio for a long time, we saw the example in the Admiral David Robinson and then Tim Duncan, that it was more important for the team win than their individual statistics. And that's why I am proud to be here and proud to work with my good friend, our councilman, Councilman Warrick. Because whether his jump shot is better than mine, we have yet to see. It was whoever wrote this said that it was. I'm not sure if that was you, but what's more important is this. We work together to help our constituents. And recently, a good example of that is a neighborhood association that contacted our office complaining about the dust and the pollution coming from the recycling plant. And don't know, the recycling plant is not being a good steward of our environment, and our neighborhood is suffering from dust, from the traffic of the 18-wheelers on their streets, from rats infestations crawling up their trees. It is a deplorable situation. And immediately when I reached out to Councilman Warrick to see how we could engage the city while I was engaged with state agencies, he was quick to meet with us, and we were quick to have a meeting with the affected neighbors. And we brought the attention of the recycling plant to the city development office, and there is a court case that is pending so that they either improve their situation or they move out somewhere else. When we met with the residents of Government Hill, we worked out a plan so that that plant comes into compliance as a good neighbor, because our neighborhoods should not have to suffer that pollution or that discomfort in their own neighborhoods. Once again, when I reached out to Councilman Warrick, then, and I'm going to give this introduction now because I trust him to do the hard work and do the right thing. He's deeply invested in our community, and he follows his parents' footsteps through his activism and engagement. And moreover, he uniquely understands the needs of District 2 and our city, and affordable housing and quality of life, regardless of what zip code it's in. That's why he's expanded the homeownership incentive program. It's why which will provide financial assistance to qualified families to help with down payment and closing costs. You know, the hardest thing sometimes is not that monthly payment, because, you know, when you go to buy a house, the monthly payment can be almost the same as rent and sometimes lower depending on the amortization. It's that down payment. It's those closing costs. And so by increasing home ownership, we know that we can strengthen not only the east side, but we can strengthen the city of San Antonio. Councilman Warrick knows that. And he's not afraid to work new ideas and try something different if it means helping people. You know, on a little bit of a sad note, San Antonio is experiencing one of the highest murder rates that it's had in more than a decade. And this increase is tragic. The councilman is not just sitting in the back wringing his hands. He's developed a system to try to curb violence in our city. When he was in D.C., he saw and heard of a gunshot detection program, and he began pushing for San Antonio to test the revolutionary gunshot detection system here in San Antonio, the first of its kind in the state of Texas. Now it's being installed and piloted in District 2. Councilman Warrick is from the district. He grew up and has always maintained his roots in the district. And that's why he supported Dignity Hills Farmers Market, so more people in the district have access to fresh fruits and vegetables. He's a champion of the community. He's always looking for ways to invest in the people of San Antonio. Therefore, he's also working with Neighborhoods First Alliance and Cops and Metro in order to try to bring the city's minimum wage to $15 an hour for our city employees and create multi-million-dollar jobs training program. Think about this. If the city of San Antonio becomes a $15 an hour minimum wage, it puts pressure on other employers to try to increase the minimum wage as well. It ends up having a positive effect to the whole city of San Antonio. The councilman understands that when we invest in people, the whole city benefits, and in particular, District 2 benefits. Councilman Warrick has also been there for our nation's heroes. It was an honor to work with him on the Good Samaritan Veterans Outreach and Transition Center located at St. Philip's College. Last session, when I was in session, and we had one of those unique sessions where there was a little bit of surplus in the state's coffers, we were able to secure, my office was working hard to secure state funds to build a brand new Veterans Outreach Center at San Antonio College. But it came to my attention that St. Philip's was short $1 million to finish theirs. And the councilman, through his office and through our efforts, we were able to secure this money. And he understands the sacred obligation we have to the men and women in uniform who will walk through those doors of the Good Samaritan Veterans Outreach Center. I know that he'll continue to do everything he can so that our vets get the benefits that they have earned on the battlefield. And as the CEO of the World Technical Services, he currently helps find jobs for Texas' most vulnerable population. He trains and works with people with disabilities. Through his training programs, individuals are able to live full, productive, and independent lives. This is why I'm proud to call Councilman Warrick and his wife my friend. because of his passion for his community, because of his work ethic, and because no one else can pull off a bow tie quite like Councilman Warrick. So, you know, sometimes, and I remember being 27 on city council, sometimes young people get a little bit of a rap when they're trying to lead in a position that's not having enough experience. And I believe that experience matters, but sometimes it's not through age that you get your experience solely. And this is why I think Councilman Warrick is proving to our community that whatever his age is, and I haven't asked him lately, he has the capacity to work hard. And it's why, even though my wife is getting out of the hospital today after 3 weeks, she said to me, go down there and keep your commitment to Alan. He's our friend. And so with that, I want to invite you. Let's give a big round of applause to our councilman and our friend, Alan Warrick. Did we not get the spotlight on time? Hey!
Hello? Can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I'm Alan Warrick, City Councilman, and I'm so glad to see everyone here today at the State of the District. I definitely want to give another round of applause to Senator Menendez. Thank you. Thank you for that wonderful introduction, and thank you all for joining us this morning. It's really a great thing to see all the faces from all over the community, which we call the East Side of San Antonio. How do you like the museum? Have any of you been here before? No. Yeah, you guys we need to do a District 2 night at the museum, right? So we're going to set that up and get all the adults out here. I know some of the kids come out here with their schools, but we want to get some of the adults out here as well. Also like to thank my wife and daughter, Avery and Tia. Got to get that out of the way early before I forget. Wave, Avery, say hello. So there have been so many great things that have happened in the district, and I wish I had the time to cover everything that we've done since the last State of the District, which we had at Pre-K for SA in 2015. And but I don't want to bore you guys. I know it's just a Saturday morning, and I know that we're going to start your day off right with some great news coming from the East Side. There are a number of projects that we've done here in this past year and a half, since December 2014, when I first became council member. But there were also a lot of projects that started before I got here, so I would be remiss if I didn't pay honor to our current mayor, Ivy Taylor, and give our mayor a round of applause. First time we've had a mayor for District 2, and she had a lot of projects that were in the hopper that I can kind of take credit for. So I get to be at the groundbreakings and ribbon cuttings, but she really got the ball rolling with the 2012 bond election. And so we have 2 fire stations that are going to be opening up between this year and next year in District 2, Fire Station 18 and Fire Station 30 on Gimbler Road and WW White Road. We also have tons of bond projects that were done on street improvements. So we had a number of street improvements. This is our Billy and Sapphire Drive. This is over across from Sam Houston High School. And there's so much work that was done to create all the streets. So she actually set up an entire neighborhood of streets and sidewalks. So as you can see, new streets and sidewalks for the entire neighborhood, which is something that you don't see these days unless it's a bond project. Martin Luther King Park. There's so much work that needs to be done, and there's so much work that we set up. Now, I can take a little bit of credit for this. She set $2 million aside in the 2012 bond election, where we were able to add another $2.5 million to make this beautiful bridge a reality. So this is actually coming in right now. The construction is being started. So that if you remember Martin Luther King Park, there's a low water crossing that floods over anytime Salado Creek is flooded. So this will not be impacted unless it's a 27-foot flood. So even the flood in '98 wasn't 27 feet. So we'll be able to cross through to Noblewood and the Wheatley Heights Sports Complex whenever we want. So that connects Martin Luther King Drive to East Houston Street, and it connects the community and brings more people together and allows for more access through the park. We also have new monuments that are going to go outside to really commemorate Dr. King and commemorate the neighborhood that's near the park as well. As you can see, this is a presentation that has a lot of icons on the east side community. So to go back, you can kind of recognize some of the, you see the hand from Pittman Sullivan Park. You'll see some of the buildings that are coming in. We have the ETSI Training Center. So a lot of you know that we're in the Promise Zone, which is a federal designation from President Obama. What we have is a 22 square mile area in the near east side that has preferential points from the federal government on any grants and any funding that comes through. So what we have, has anybody heard of the WETC on the west side? Yeah, so we're gonna have our own WETC. It's gonna be the ETSI. We didn't get very creative on the name, but we get creative on the things that we're gonna be doing on the inside. So the Educational Training Center is the former Pfeiffer Elementary. Did anybody go to Pfeiffer Elementary? Yeah, so right now Pfeiffer's closed. It does transfer back and forth to Cameron if they're ever doing construction at Cameron Elementary. But it's gonna be the old Pfeiffer site, but they're redoing it right now. So if you drive by, you can actually stop in and you'll see the construction crews. They're remodeling and renovating the inside because we got $1 million grant from the federal government to make this happen on the east side of San Antonio. So if you look at all the partners that we have, the Alamo Colleges, I saw Belkis here, there you go. Belkis is one of the job training liaisons that works with Dr. Zaragoza and it really helps to make a lot of this happen. Workforce Solutions Alamo, United Way, our truancy court, Judge Bull and the truancy court. United Way is going to offer child care services there as well for children 4 to 11 years old. So if you need to get a job, but you don't have anyone to watch your children, that's one of the things that impacts people's opportunity. And then also, of course, give away vouchers for the bus and transportation in order to get people where they need to go. SAGE is also a big partner, and via the city of San Antonio, of course. We're planning on serving 1,000 people with job placement, and we're going to enroll 300 people into the Promise Zone to Work program. So Promise Zone to Work is, we're going to have, and we currently have already people in those classes where it's nurse technicians, construction, IT training, computer management, all these technical jobs where we're getting free certification. So instead of them having to pay to go to St. Philip's or SAC, it's free if you live inside the Promise Zone. So it's definitely a resource that if you don't know about or you have a friend that doesn't have a job or needs a better job in the community, that's someone that you want to tell about this program because we have these free resources for people that live in the Promise Zone. This is one of our job fairs that we had at Workforce Solutions Alamo on East Houston Street. And so this site, we're going to make it a one-stop shop at the ETSI. So Workforce Solutions Alamo is going to be at the same place where you're going to drop your kids off. So you can drop your kids off and you don't have to leave the building to get a job. So it's one of those resources that we need in our community to move things forward because when I first got in, we had 15% unemployment on the east side of San Antonio in the Promise Zone. In a city that has 3.7% unemployment, that's unacceptable. And this is why we bring these additional resources in to take care of those issues in order to get that number more closer to that 3.7% like the rest of the city. There's some more folks filling out applications. We're talking to job trainers and places. We also have community resource fairs where we're bringing other for-profit colleges and other opportunities for affordable bills for your CPS Energy, for your SAWS, programs like Casa Verde where people can make their houses more energy efficient. There's definitely tons of opportunity for all the work that we're doing, as well as giving out, I think we gave out about 2 tons of food that day to people in the community that needed food. And there was a line all the way down East Houston Street. If you were there that day, or not East Houston, Brockville Street, it was an amazing thing just to see the need in the community, but also to see the hope that people had by getting these resources and bringing it directly to them in their neighborhoods. And I definitely wanted to thank all the volunteers. We had about 70 volunteers out there that day that weren't all from the east side that helped people in my community, so it was definitely a great thing. Now it's time to talk about the other opportunities. We have 25 new businesses that have started on the east side since January of this year. It's a huge thing. This is a time of unprecedented growth in our community. And, it's always trying when you have times of great change like this, but I think that it's just fast enough because of the disinvestment or a lack of investment for the long period of time that we've had before now, that these 25 businesses aren't going to overwhelm the community. So Estate Coffee is a brand new craft coffee shop. Now I know everybody can't afford a $6 coffee, and I don't even drink coffee, but we have to support our local businesses because this is what's going to turn the community around, bring new investment in, and also bring new people into the community to experience the east side they haven't seen it. Has anybody had an Estate Coffee? It's on East Houston Street and the train tracks between Cherry and the train tracks. So right across from what used to be the Merchants Ice Warehouse. This is Smoke. So Smoke is at Sunset Station. There's another Smoke on Santerre on the north side. So we did some work with Jackie Gorman and Sage to bring them down, and Zachary also helped. My aunt doesn't like Zachary. Does everybody know my Aunt Nettie? She's kind of been a community busybody. A community busybody since 1995 you came back?
And I came back from Washington.
Yeah, since 1995. But she was born in San Antonio, one of the first graduate from UT from San Antonio. African American. First African American graduate from UT in San Antonio. And she.
UT Austin.
Yeah, UT Austin, I'm sorry.
Wrong San Antonio.
But it's a great restaurant. It's like the Ruth Chris of barbecue. So it's not your Big Bib is great. If you haven't been to the Big Bib, you got to go to the Big Bib. But Smoke is that nicer level if you want to impress somebody, or you have a prom date or something like that. Anybody going to prom this year? I'm surprised there's no. Tony G's is right next door, so right around the corner. These are both businesses that opened up this year in April and May. Tony G's is a soul food restaurant, and Tony Bradley's been investing in our community for about 10 years. He's been in San Antonio. Arcade brought him down from Houston, and he saw the things that were happening on the east side, and he kind of compare that to Third Ward Houston. If anybody's familiar with Houston and the redevelopment that's happened there in Midtown and Third Ward, that same stuff is going to happen here in San Antonio. And he's kind of leading the way, helping and investing, and he's just moved into the community. So, he was doing well, living at the Dominion, and he said, I should be here in Dignity Hill on the east side of San Antonio. And it still looks like the Dominion in his house, but I don't know, Tony's here, okay. But beautiful house, and great food, fantastic food. And their brunch on Sunday, if you have an opportunity to make it to their brunch on Sunday, they have a jazz brunch, live music, buffet. It's a great thing, and we definitely need to support that business. This is Burleson Yard, so this is a little different crowd. It's a couple blocks away. All of this is on the Near East Side, inside between 281 and New Brunswick Street. This is on Austin Street right here. It's a Burleson Yard, and you'll see another piece of this later on when we're talking about Soul Saturday, something that we did this past summer. But it's a beer garden, very similar to the Friendly Spot like you would see on South St. Mary's, South Alamo, and King William. So we already have that kind of influence coming into the community as well. Now this is Does anybody recognize this building? Yeah. So this is right across the street from Mrs. Kitchen. Now, we've had meetings and we're in the final stages of talking to this firm called Gideon. Gideon is a federal contractor that has offices off of 410. They do most of the work at Fort Sam. And they don't have any city work, but they said, we love the community, we're architects, we want to do something different, and we want to start revitalizing on the other side of New Braunfels. Right now, a lot of stuff's happening on the west side of New Braunfels. We want to do something on the east side of New Braunfels, and this is what they want to do. So they're going to change that facility into their new offices. They're going to also have some apartment housing or town housing in the back. We're still working on the design of that, but that lot has been like that for who knows how many years, and getting it turned around is going to happen probably before the spring. You'll see some construction on that, so it'll really be a great opportunity. And we want to welcome them into the community, just like all new businesses. Alamo City Studios. Did anybody know that we filmed? I know you did, because we're Ace Ventura on the east side of San Antonio. Did anybody know that? Hey, remember Jim Carrey, Ace Ventura, Pet Detective? That was filmed in our community in District 2. And they actually had some of the folks from District 2 in the movie. It was the second one when they went to Africa. So some of those Africans were East Siders. Quote unquote. But so they revitalized that studio, and actually Tori Spelling, Aaron Spelling's father, had an office on the east side of San Antonio in that building. So the Alamo City Comic-Con, which is coming up pretty soon, which is a huge event, about 40,000 people at the convention center, and they're all based at this Alamo City Studios, which is just up the street from 281 on East Houston and Chestnut, I want to say. And huge opportunity. I think they just filmed a Kawhi Leonard commercial in there, a Nike commercial for Kawhi Leonard. So things are happening on the east side, and we've got a burgeoning movie community. A lot of those old warehouses could be movie studios and editorial places where we can edit and shoot films. So that's something that we're definitely trying to grow as a city, but I'm definitely trying to grow it in my district as well, because we have that industrial space that's already here. And then finally, the Best Western that just opened up in Government Hill. So we had a brand new hotel open up a week and a half ago. And it used to be the Antonian. You remember driving past the Antonian on 35 in New Braunfels? Well, they took it and they totally gutted everything. It's, I want to say 130 rooms. And it's a very nice place for families to stay. If you got some overflow, if you can't fit them all into your house, please send them over to the Best Western Plus right there on New Braunfels Street. Housing. So when I came into office, we had over 2,000 vacant homes and lots. 17 out of every, and there's Molly Cox in the bathroom. I want to give a shout out to Molly because she gave me this stat. So I'm stealing your stat. Wave, Molly. And say a quip or something like that.
Steal all our stats.
Steal all our stats. So 17 out of every 100 homes in District 2 were vacant when I first started. So we made a big focus on new housing and infill and making sure that these old warehouses and old buildings were put to better use and getting more people into the community. Not just wealthy people though. So this is Crockett Street Lofts. So this will be 270 units, and half of those units will be made affordable for people starting out making less than $40,000, $50,000 a year. So teachers and garbage men and anyone that doesn't make a whole bunch of money can live in a place with the people that make a lot of money that can afford to pay $1,500 to $1,600 for a 1 or 2 bedroom apartment. So half of them are going to be at that rate. The other ones are going to be way more affordable, but they're still going to. It's not going to be Section 8. That's one of the things that people tend to worry about in our community. It's just a lower rent that's more affordable. That's less than 30% of their income. Because over 100,000 people in San Antonio have to pay more than 30% of their income to have housing. And that's something that's unacceptable. So with all of these projects, we're working on affordability. This is Charlie Turner, and this is Urban at Olive. So Olive and Burleson Street, there are going to be 27 homes over there. And with the funding that we're getting from the city to add some infrastructure, We're giving them some more sidewalks and better alleys in order to make 2 of those homes affordable as well. So the average price for one of those is gonna be $250,000, but we're gonna sell 2 of those at less than $170,000, just so people can afford to buy in this neighborhood that's becoming very attractive. But we want that affordability. Even though some of y'all might feel that $170,000 isn't cheap, you have to understand that in other cities across the country, people can't even think about buying a house. You know, you have people that are gonna be renting for the rest of their lives because you have to be a millionaire to live in New York or San Francisco or Chicago. This is Westport Urban Villas. We have some Westport folks in here. We go, gentlemen, in the back. It's a new project in community. It's right next to Fort Sam Houston, across from what used to be the Staples at Cunningham. And going up that hill towards the base, there's beautiful views of downtown. And these are actually higher price. So again, it's about mixed income. We want people in $500,000 houses and $100,000 and $50,000 houses all in the same community. So how do we get that to happen? We provide options. Not every house is gonna look the same, not every house is gonna be the same size, and I think that's where we come into some of our issues when we have, 1,800 square foot houses. We have to mix it up and have some 2,000 square foot houses, but we can still have a couple of the 800 square foot houses because we need a mixture and a range of people, and families are smaller these days. How many of you have more than 2 brothers and sisters? Yeah, that doesn't happen very much anymore. Folks don't have a lot of kids. My mom grew up in a 2-bedroom house in Denver Heights with 3 brothers and sisters and 2 parents and a grandparent. So we think of personal space a lot differently than they did back then. But that was fine. They didn't think anything of it. That was a big house back then. Now this is East Meadows. So the old Wheatley Courts, we didn't have a before picture, was torn down. And now East Meadows is actually opening up next week. On the 13th, I want to say, is the grand opening for East Meadows, where we're going to move people back into the community and really allow for that promise that when we talk about a promise zone, promise of a better future, promise of a better neighborhood, promise of a safe place and a good education for your kids, that the president is promising this is what East Meadows is. So the city, the federal government, and some state funding has allowed for about $42 million of investment happening on the east side of San Antonio, and that's totally unprecedented. Mayor Taylor, Dr. Lawson from St. Philip's, Jackie Gorman, they did that initial legwork. Secretary Castro, back when he was Mayor Castro, really made all of this happen. And this is before me, but it's definitely going to be a game changer along Walter Street near the old Wheatley High School, now Wheatley Community School. Now, when we're talking about housing, we also have to talk about maintaining the housing that we have already. So in District 1, there was a pilot program last year where Councilman Trevino, does anybody know that I went to architecture school? I studied architecture at school. My aunt knows, big surprise. Thank you for remembering that, though. But so I studied architecture, and we actually have 2 people that have architecture degrees, one practicing architect, and then I run a nonprofit organization like the Senator said. And we have an under one roof program where we're gonna be giving roofs to people that need them, either in order to qualify for the Casa Verde program, or people that have severe damage and their homes are deteriorating. Because once your roof goes, the rest of the house goes very quickly, because once water gets inside, water is one of the things that kills any building. So we're not only giving people new roofs, we have $100,000 for that, so it'll be about 9 or 10 roofs in the district. This is a pilot, but we're gonna expand it, hopefully expand it next year. We're gonna give them white roofs. So what that white roof does, it reflects the energy, and it makes the house cooler, so you don't have to have that high electric bill in the summer months and when it's hot outside. So your house with a dark roof, your roof will end up being about 150 degrees if it's 95 degrees outside. That's why roofers start at 6 o'clock in the morning Because once that sun hits it, it gets up to about 150, 160 degrees. With the white roof, your roof gets to be about 100 degrees. So if you think about all that heat that's, one, not staying on your house and going into your house, you're saving yourselves at least 10 to 25%, and we're waiting for the numbers from their first year's pilot, because we have to wait until next summer and see how they do. But we feel very confident because this technology's been around for commercial buildings. We just haven't been using it on our residential homes. So we're not only giving them a new roof, which is going to allow for a number of programs. We have solar panels through Solar Host that people can have for free on their home where they get a rebate as well. So if you have a new roof that can last 25 years, they'll put solar panels on your home, especially on the east side, because we need solar diversity in San Antonio. Now, solar diversity, what is that? Most of our solar panels, just like most of our wealth, are on the north and northeast, northwest side of San Antonio. So south of 410, south of Hildebrand, very little solar, maybe 40 applications out of the 1,500 or 2,000 that we have in San Antonio. So to raise that percentage, we're giving away solar panels through CPS Energy on homes, but the home has to have a good roof. So that's another one of the problems with a lot of the homes in our community. They haven't had that investment, and folks don't have the disposable income to make those improvements. And some folks don't even have homeowners insurance. So like when we had the big hailstorm in Maine, we had a number of people that didn't have homeowners insurance because the home's been paid off for 50 years. So you don't technically need it, but it's definitely good when you have it. But it's something that we kind of take for granted sometimes. But it's definitely something that we thought we could help out the people of the district too. Okay. Our NEAT initiative. So what we have, let's see, we've had a couple of neat neighborhoods in here. Mr. Lewis can raise his hand. Aubrey Lewis, the president of Denver Heights neighborhood. Mr. Dickerson, Mr. Dickerson, you can stand up. So when Mr. Dickerson and the folks from Coliseum Willow Park came in February to my open office hours, they said, there's so many problems in our neighborhood, and there's so many people parking in their yards, and we got a tractor trailer in somebody's front yard. I said, a tractor trailer in somebody's front yard. And when we rode through the neighborhood, there was a tractor trailer in somebody's front. And code enforcement hadn't made anything happen with that. So what we have is the NEAT initiative, which is Neighborhood Empowerment Action Team. So we've got code enforcement, our animal control services, and our police department working with our office in the neighborhood. So first, we send out a letter to all the folks in the neighborhood. And if you haven't had this happen yet, it's coming to your neighborhood. It's coming to, Mike Strawberries has had it too. Well, sure. So we got some pictures of it too. First, it's a 4-week program. So first the letter goes out, and it tells you that we're going to do some more stringent code enforcement than you've seen before, because a lot of these neighborhoods, the code enforcement folks ride around on the main streets, but they didn't go through the back streets, because that's how you get a tractor trailer in someone's yard. And then the second week they come through and the violations are given to people, but you also had numbers on that first week. And so on that letter, you have numbers of people that you can call, and resources, nonprofits, or our office that we can tie you with if you're a senior citizen or a disabled person, in order to make sure that we're not just going to give you a fine and not give you a solution or a way out of the problem. And then the third week, we ride through, myself, the neighborhood association president, and representatives from all those agencies, and we make sure that we got everything. We make sure that the code enforcement sweep didn't miss any problem houses or problem areas. And then the last week, we bring a dumpster, a big dialer trailer, into the neighborhood, and then they fill it up with all their trash, and we get the trash out of the neighborhood. And then things look a little better, and then we start the process over again, because it's not perfect yet, because it's not going to get perfect in 3 months if it hasn't been perfect in 40 years. So this is a little video.
Good evening. A San Antonio City Councilman is working to clean up an often overlooked neighborhood on the east side.
Councilman Alan Warrick was out in District 2 along with code compliance officers. News 4's Jocelyn Tovar says if this new method actually works, we could see it in more districts across the city.
In a small neighborhood, there's 1,700 of these violations for code compliance. That's more than there are houses.
With the councilman, with some members of animal control, and as well as the neighborhood leadership.
Not 5 minutes into the ride-along, and Animal Services stops to pick up a stray dog. Dogs running around the East Side neighborhood may seem like a small issue, but any change here can really turn around Harvard Place. Homes like this one sit abandoned, people's possessions littering the yard. Code compliance will work to notify the owner, but if there's no response, the city will then clear the property themselves. Vehicles also empty, indications they've sat here for years. Also an eyesore, also violations.
Really target the area, and pretty hard real quick to see if we can get more compliance in that area.
But these compliance officers aren't surprising homeowners. They've all been notified and have had at least a week to correct the issues, like grass in yards higher than 12 inches.
About 80% of our work is proactive work, but it's in the partnership with the neighborhood, the partnership with the leadership, the councilman leadership, and our other departments as well is real key to making sure that we can really maintain a safe and vibrant neighborhood.
Changes will improve the neighborhood, increase home prices, and if that works, other districts could soon have copycat programs. Jocelyn Tovar, News 4, San Antonio.
So, where's Verna? There you are, kind of in the back. This is in front of Verna's house after we did our neat sweep in Delcrest. So we've rolled it out to about 7 neighborhoods, and we do 1 neighborhood a week, and we just keep that same cycle going. So that 4-week cycle is continuous. And then after we go through all the neighborhoods, because I see some of you with the frowny faces because we haven't been to your neighborhood yet, but we're coming. We're coming. But once we've been through all the neighborhoods, and we go back and we start it over again, because I think it has to be continuous until people understand that this is normal now. 2-foot grass is not normal anymore. A junk car parked in your front yard or a mattress in your driveway is not normal anymore. So, but we have to change people's mindsets, and it takes a little while for that to happen. So once we actually get that thing where people are taking the mattress to the dumpster first instead of leaving it in their driveway, then we know that the change is happening. So in some of the neighborhoods, we've seen those impacts. We started in February in Coliseum Willow Park, and we've seen those improvements. We don't see the tractor trailer anymore, it's gone. But it takes that much time. It's been 9 months, but we still gotta go back and make sure that people don't forget that we're doing this, and that you need to care about this neighborhood as much as the first folks that moved in when those houses were brand new. This is in Wilshire when we did our neat ride along. And
my name is Mary Emerson. I live in District 2, and I'm the president of Harvard Place East Lawn Neighborhood Association. And I've been living here for 60 years. November the 1st will be 60 years. And I have seen a great change. Oh, the ride along was great. And I was invited by the councilman's assistant
So, thank you, Ms. Emerson. Everybody give Ms. Emerson a round of applause. I have trouble with 6 years. So 60 years is something to be commended, and we definitely want to thank our icons and people that have been leading the way in these neighborhoods for so long. Animal Control Services, you saw in the news piece that we picked up a dog. It's usually 5 or 6 dogs, depending on the neighborhood, sometimes 10 or 11. But as you can see, in 2016, we picked up nearly 1,000 more dogs in 2014. So we're working hard in the district to make sure that our streets are safe, because we know it's not there yet. I still see them, and my dream is to ride through my districts just one day. And we're gonna start with one day. No grass up to here and no dogs. If I could just make it the entire day with no grass up to here and no dogs, I'll be happy. And then it's gonna be 2 days, and I just keep dreaming. But I mean, that's really what we're all in here because we're dreamers. We're all in here because we want better things for our community. We want better things for our neighborhood. We remember how it used to be, maybe, and we wanted to go back there. That's a dream. These are all dreams that we want to come true. And hopefully this program works to make some of that happen. As far as other public safety concerns, we have foot patrols in the community now. How many people have seen the foot patrols? Have you seen the police walking on New Braunfels Street, Walter Street? I think they go as far as MLK sometimes. They're kind of the hot spots in the community, areas where we've had concerns, where things are a little quieter now because we have more proactive activity. So we need that extra force, and it's not extra, it's really equity. Sadly, we've had over 30 murders in District 2 since January. Now this is about double the next district, which is on the near west side, at about 17. So how do we impact that? How do we change the dynamics to where our community, because I know our community is not 30 times more violent than that community, or 2 times more violent. But we have to impact these young people and talk about the future and focus on the future, but we can't forget about the people that are here now that may have fallen through the cracks. Body cameras, because we're having more activity and having more police presence on the east side, I made sure that we were the first district to have every officer with body cameras. So every officer out of the east substation has a body camera, and they were the first area. So on the northwest side of town, they still don't have body cameras yet. But here on the east side, we have body cameras, and we have them since July. Bus stop arms. So what we have, you see the kids that almost get hit by the school buses. People run that stop sign that comes out when the bus stops. There are cameras now, and the guy's installing one of those cameras, and we have them installed at about 200 buses here in San Antonio. We're working on all the districts. It should be about 1,300 once the entire city's covered. This is not just a District 2 thing. This is a citywide thing that we focused on, because we want all kinds of safety, not just crosswalks, but the kids getting off the bus and somebody runs that arm, we want to be able to hold that person accountable. And so we have cameras that'll give them tickets, and once people start getting those tickets, they'll know that they're not going to run those cameras very often. Our Martin Luther King March, it was a great march this year. Culminates in Denver Heights at Pittman Sullivan Park, and we had over 350,000 people that came to the march this year. And as you can see, it's really just a beautiful thing every year, just to see all those San Antonians of all colors, shapes, and sizes come out and really bring that unity to the east side, and also keep it in the east side and make sure that the city and the world knows that we're leading the way in issues with community relations and issues with civil rights. And this is where we want to be on the front end of those things. Dream Week is our week-long or 10-day-long celebration that leads up to the MLK March. And we have a range of events that culminate with the march being that huge catalyst. During this year's Martin Luther King March, we were able to raise the number of scholarships that we went. So in 2015 for the march, we gave away $40,000 in scholarships. This year, we gave away $400,000. So, I just knew that we could do better, and I knew because we had the largest march, we need a large number to go behind that to show that we're supporting our young people, and making sure that these San Antonians know that we're gonna invest in them, and then potentially they'll come back and invest in our community and give back to our community, because that's what we need, that our young people, 8, 9, 10, 4 years old, to come back 20 years from now, 30 years from now and say, I'm proud of the East Side, this is my home, and I want this community to be better, and that's what I wanted. So this is the first year that we gave away multi-year scholarships as well. So people got a full ride, as long as they maintain their grades, they have a full college scholarship from our MLK March and the fundraisers that we have before them. So this is the first time, and there's about 8 of those folks that got full scholarships. And it's just a great thing. This is just one, and we're not resting on that. We want to make that bigger too, because we have 13 colleges and universities in San Antonio. So until we get to 13, then we're not going to rest. This is one of the scholars that we honored. There's Mayor Taylor and Brandon Logan, our MLK commissioner, as well as myself. And it was a great day when we honored all those young people. Talking about the future, this is Good People Soul Saturday, one of the summer events that we had. We'll watch the video for a second and then we'll go talk about it a little more. But again, I'm Alan Warrick, I'm the city councilman. This is what I wanted to happen, and I'm thanking the wonderful people, Christian and Uche, the good people. I don't know exactly where they are, but I knew they were the right people to get all you folks here, and it's really a beautiful thing.
Right here on the Hay Street Bridge, and I found out about this because I actually live in this neighborhood. Moved here about 6 months ago, and it's been really awesome so far. This block party is happening, get to meet a lot of my neighbors I haven't even met yet, and it's bringing together all the local businesses, and the community out here is pretty fantastic.
So my name is Kinsley. I found out about the Good People SA mixer because my boyfriend's actually performing. So he was one of the performing artists right before the Grammy Award winner, John Moses. And it's awesome. I love the event. There's a lot of people, a lot of vendors. So I hope everyone's enjoying it. It was a little hot, but it cooled down, and now we just get to enjoy some more music and some more vendors.
So that was Soul Saturday. We had, like I said, about 3,500 folks that show up. And it was something that I wanted to do to, one, highlight Austin Street. I think Austin Street has the opportunity to be like our 6th Street in San Antonio. We're right there next to the train tracks. And on this side of the train tracks, there's not a lot of community yet, so we can have those bars and restaurants and things that are opening up already, but also add more to them, because there's still 4 or 5 underutilized or vacant buildings that by the next time we have Good People Soul Saturday, I want one of those buildings to be another restaurant or another bar or another place where people can come together as a community. We brought in the Grammy Award winning artist Bilal. So if you remember the Prince tribute at the BET Awards, he did that Prince tribute that was very moving, and I'd always enjoyed his work. It's inspirational. So we're gonna do a Soul Saturday rendition during Dream Week, leading up to the MLK March, and then we'll also have another one in the summer. So it'll be a great year, and it's just more opportunities to have positive things coming out of the East Side and positive things for the community that are free. So again, it's a free concert with a Grammy Award-winning artist that you can see on TV right now. Summer at the Maya exhibit with the Whitty Museum. The Whitty is also in District 2. A lot of people don't realize that this stretch of Broadway is District 2. So we had these great young people from District 2 that went to this week-long summer program where they learned how to be archaeologists and dig up and excavate things, these kind of pretend sites with real archaeologists, and they learned, and these kids are from District 2, and they got a free scholarship. So this normally isn't free. It's about $600 for that week, and a lot of families can't afford that just for 1 week, you know. So we wanted to make sure that they had the opportunity to, one, be exposed to the different careers that a museum offers, but also to be exposed to the different kids from all over town. It wasn't just these kids, there were 25 other kids, and so they could get to see where they are and how they stack up with other kids from other parts of the city, and it was a great program, and I thank the Whitty for putting it together and making sure that our kids were taken care of, because this is their district. Our Eastside Dreamers Academy, these are some of the kids, and we're going to show another video. But so we had 30 kids that went through a Leadership San Antonio style program, which is, has anybody graduated from LSA or familiar with LSA? Yeah, so Leadership San Antonio is a program that the Chambers of Commerce put on in order to help young business people and entrepreneurs move things forward and learn. And here's a little bit more about it.
I went to this course in Albert Plus and a new Hispanic Chamber program designed to give children a better future. That's news tonight.
At the Eastside Boys and Girls Club, 30 teens in a brand new program are mapping out where their dreams will take them next. Do you feel honored to be a dreamer?
Oh yes, especially since this is the first year of the Little Saturday program.
This is the inaugural class.
For 5 weeks, these 13 to 17-year-olds will be engaged in leadership development training modeled after a similar program for adults. They'll learn about good jobs, engage in community service, and work on personal goals.
They made everybody feel so relevant, so nobody ever felt left out or felt like their dream was doing less than the other.
I want to finish high school, go to community college, and go to Texas A&M.
It gives us an opportunity to dream bigger and get more experience in what we need and to conquer the world.
What I think is that we have a community, a city, a nation of dreamers that are making our country better every day by making good dreams become realities.
The Eastside Dreamers Academy is part of a national effort, and we have a link to the 1 Million Dreams website at KENS5.com. To cover KENS 5 Eyewitness News.
So did you hear that? She said she wanted to conquer the world. Yes. How many of you all still want to conquer the world? Like, remember Pinky and the Brain? Does anybody remember that show? No, those are the kind of dreams that we want coming out of our community, out of our city, and that's why, and I guess it's kind of a theme here, you're hearing a lot of firsts. So this is the first year of the Eastside Dreamers Academy. It's the first time that we had the NEED initiative. This is the first time that we had Soul Saturday. It's because we need these firsts to push things forward, and maybe it's not gonna work. Maybe that event doesn't work, but the next one will, or the next idea will. So we just gotta keep having those ideas, keep having those dreams, and keep pushing things forward. So, where better to dream than at the top of the tower, at the Tower of the Americas. A lot of them can see the tower from their houses on the east side, but none of them have eaten at the tower restaurant before. So we had our graduation lunch at the tower, and then we gave them lunch. We made sure they had the manners first. We gave them a little etiquette class, because can't forget about manners when you take kids, you know? Amen. And don't they look so polite? No. But it was really a great opportunity to, one, bring these kids together, because they go to different schools, they have different backgrounds, and then the next step, we're actually taking 10 of them to Washington, D.C. We got an invitation to the White House from Julie Chavez Rodriguez, who is Cesar Chavez's daughter. And once she heard about the Dreamer program, she said, oh no, just give me a date. Tell me when you want to do it, and we're going to be there in November. So you'll hear more about that. But we're going to take 10 of those kids to the White House, and their lives are going to be changed, I'm sure. So we have midnight basketball and a 3-on-3 basketball tournament during the summer as well. So midnight basketball had been going. Now Whitney gets to stand up now. Whitney's our partner for the David Scott YMCA. Everybody give her a round of applause. She's the executive, and I can see I planted these people all over the room with this. Now, so Whitney's the new executive director of the David Scott YMCA, and they've had the midnight basketball program through the Promised Neighborhood for a couple years now. But what I decided this past summer, because of all the violence that was happening earlier, we got to get these kids off the street. We got to give them something positive to do, or at least just wear them out. So, at 1 o'clock in the morning, they're not out on the street; they're tired. So we added 3 more sites. So the David Scott YMCA is right there on New Braunfels in Iowa, but then we added the Martin Luther King Boys and Girls Club on Martin Luther King Drive, and then we also Copernicus Park, which is in Delcrest, and then the Walls of YMCA, which kind of touches our northeast neighbors in District 2 as well, so that nobody was left out. So normally they touch about 167 people. We touched over 600 people through this program this year, and we got new funding to make sure that it happens next year as well. So we thought it was positive. We want to get that number to about 800 or 1,000, and I think we can handle it, and it was really a great opportunity. The kids definitely were included, and then the chief, without the police department and the police relations that we had, none of it could have moved forward. The police helped with the refereeing, they helped with the security, they helped with the coaching some of the teams. So it's a lot harder to get shot by a police officer when he's your basketball coach. So it's about knowing the community and being a part of the community. And I think that's another way that we're leading the way here in San Antonio. Now the future. 2017 bond election, $850 million. How many of you know that we're a AAA bond rated city in San Antonio? That's good, we're good at that. There are no other AAA bond rated cities in the top 10 cities in the country. So this means that we can get more money for the projects that we need in our community that either haven't been done or haven't been fully completed or haven't reached their full potential. And that AAA bond rating helps us leverage those funds to get to that $850 million. The last bond was about $594 or $5 million, somewhere in there. So we're adding another quarter to that and making sure that these projects, this time we're going to spend over $540 million just on streets and sidewalks, because we know that that's an important thing for our community, and we know that there are a lot of streets and sidewalks that need a lot of work. But I'm just going to focus on some of the little sexier projects. Not a lot of you can think that a park is a sexy project, but for a bond election, a park is a sexy project. It could be like a drainage ditch. We're not going to talk about drainage ditch. We're going to talk about Lincoln Park. So, okay. I still can't spill the beans, but there will be a press conference on Wednesday at Lincoln Park that's going to add to this. So there's $1 million right here. There's going to be another $1 million put into that park from somebody special in our community that cares about children, that cares about the East Side, and we're so happy. And this is the only project that somebody is giving money to in this bond election. And this is also tied into our tricentennial. San Antonio is turning 300 years old in 2018, and this is going to be a tricentennial project on the east side of San Antonio. So Wednesday, Lincoln Park, we have a time for that? 10 o'clock in the morning. If you want to show up, we'd be happy to have you. And Lincoln Park is where the Claude Black Center is, and the Barbara Jordan, that big grassy area that could be a lot more, is going to be a lot more after we invest this money into that part of the community. So next is Lockwood Dignity Park. I don't see a bunch of my Dignity folks here. a bunch. But Lockwood Dignity Park, there was a master planning process that occurred with a lot of community input. Over 4,000 people from the community who were in that park gave input and gave feedback to show the things that could happen, and then they took some of the 22 architects that live in the neighborhood and donated their time to make a master plan that's actually very nice. And they also got an organization started, was it SA Parks East? SA East, Parks SA East. And that's a nonprofit organization where they raised over $200,000 in in-kind services and money to get this project going. But, and that's gonna be great, but we would be remiss if we didn't do anything about Martin Luther King Park. So we, like I said, we got $4 million that's getting invested into the park right now. This is another $3 million. Because that $4 million is just a bridge, really. That bridge costs that extra $2 million. We have wider streets and lighting, but that doesn't add any amenities. It doesn't add any reason for families to go out there. So has anybody seen Pearsall Park or heard about Pearsall Park? So Pearsall Park is like Splashtown or Schlitterbahn, but it's free. So, I mean, you got 1,000 kids out there probably right now playing and in the water and splashing around and doing all kinds of fun things. And we don't have anything like that on the east side of San Antonio. So we're looking to make that kind of improvement. So I was actually at the Texas Municipal League conference this past week, which was going on in Austin. And they have a number of vendors. The Texas Municipal League is a gathering of all the cities and towns in Texas. And it allows them to see what's the best practices, what are the new and cool things that are happening in cities, but also what are the new and cool things that are happening in things that cities use, like fire trucks and equipment and parks and splash pads and all those things. So I've met with 6 different splash pad vendors and park equipment vendors so that we can have a premier park experience. Because as you can see, that's one of our regional parks. It's a huge park. But we don't have the same usage that Hardburger Park and Callister Park have. So what's going to get the people to come out there are these great amenities. What's going to get the people to come out of their homes and get our kids away from obesity, away from type 2 diabetes, early onset, is getting them out and getting them active and making sure that they're moving around. And we're going to put some things that are going to move them around, and that $3.1 million is going to go a long way towards making our community more integrated, but also making our community more healthy. This is the end of our show today, but I do appreciate all of you for your patience with me. It has really been an honor to serve you since December of 2014, and I look forward to serving you much, much longer. We also have a couple things here because District 2 is actually the most active that it's been as far as neighborhood associations and organizations. We wanted to commend you because we want, in the private sector, business world where I come from, we reward good behavior. We reward the kinds of things that we want people to do, and instead of just ignoring it. You know, a lot of businesses, they just take it for granted. So we're not going to take you guys for granted. We're glad that you showed up, and we have some certificates for you. So if you would like to come forward, did Chris leave? Chris Dawkins? Chris Mr. Aubrey Lewis. James Dickerson. All right, Chris, I saw you walk in. Richard Felton. Miss Emerson, I'm gonna come to you, Miss Emerson. Ruben Guerrero. Ruben's with Eastwood Village. We have him. Mike Strawbridge. Mike's with Wilson Terrace. And everyone, we have the District 2 calendar that is out right now. It's not useful right now, but if you hang it up behind your calendar that's already on the wall, it'll be ready for you in December. So I thank you all. Have a blessed day. I thank you for my team is here. My entire team is here. I'd be remiss if they didn't come up front. They're always in the background. They're the ones that do this. Frank, come on, Frank. So we have Demonte Alexander, Derek Roberts, Millie Ray, and Natalie Saavedra. Again, you all are beautiful. Thank you for coming out. Please drink the juice, even the coffee, whatever it is. Have a wonderful day. Okay. Oh, and now every family that has kids here, you get to go to the juice